Welcome to the Soul Touched by Dogs podcast, the show for dog lovers who see dogs not as toys or tools, but wise souls worth our respect and care. I'm Anke Herman, and I'm your host. I talk to pawsome humans, people who do great work for dogs and their people. So come and join us for today's conversation. Hello and welcome, Tricia. I'm super excited to have you here today.
I am excited to be here. Thank you for having me, and what an honor. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. I'm really looking forward to this particular conversation. So, before we dive in, let people know where in this lovely world you are. And, as always, what's your business with dogs?
Absolutely. So I am actually in Florida. I am located outside of Fort Myers, and it's about 83 degrees here and absolutely beautiful. And if I had the screens open right now, you'd see the water in the canal. And I always say I wake up in paradise every morning, which is absolutely beautiful. I had been in animal welfare, the veterinary profession, and the pet industry. I'd like to say pretty much my whole life. I look like I'm 25, but I'm a little bit older than that. I um, I started with the Chicago Veterinary Medical Association about 25 years ago. And I started as their public education director and then went on to become their executive director. And so I really grew up in the veterinary profession and understanding everything about that. I then went on to be in the pet industry with my organization, which was Canine Fit Club, which was gyms for people and dogs all across the country. We had everything from Papa Lottie's, Namaste Stay, Bow Wow Boot Camp, Bagging for Beginner. I mean, you name it. And we created science-based programs for both people and their dogs. And I worked with Dr. Ernie Ward, Association of Pet Obesity Prevention, and Dr. David Levine. As we were selling the company, I really wanted to focus on animal welfare because I had been I'd always volunteered. I'd always been on boards for different animal control organizations and humane societies, and put my name out there. And I became CEO for Paws Humane Society, and I led them straight into the pandemic and straight out of the pandemic. So uncharted waters to for sure. But during that time, it was during the time of COVID and it was my birthday, and it was the worst birthday ever. As we know, during COVID, it was like really everything was locked down, but we were deemed essential workers. So we were working 7 days a week, 12, 13 hours a day. And they had I had walked in on a Saturday morning and there was a dog in the small dog room that they had picked up overnight from a pretty bad situation. His name was Boss at the time. And I asked if I could bring him home with me to foster him for, like a nice little birthday present for me. And we spent the weekend together, and I brought him back Monday. I thought I'm not ready for a dog, but I kept going back and going back. And before the end of the day, my staff had adopted him for me during the Bissell Pet Foundation event, which was a boss for a boss, they said. And Boss became Moose, and he was my glue. Okay, he, we all have those dogs that touch your soul, the dogs that are our heart dogs. Moose is my heart dog. I mean, he really, my mom had passed away, my dad had passed away, and and Moose was just there, and it was a tough time. And I came back from an event, and I put my arms around him, and there were 4 nodes all around his neck, and there were 3 nodes going down him. And I'm, I know what they were. And I called every veterinarian that I could and got him into Auburn and just all kinds of, you know, but it was too late. Within 2 weeks, he was gone. And it was stage 4 lymphoma. And it, uh, it crushed my soul. Um, I felt like my body and my heart was being ripped out, and I found myself on the floor, and I didn't want to go on. I did not want to live. I just, because everything that had come down at that time, the pain of my parents, the pain of just like everything. And I just, I just, I didn't, it would, yeah, it was a space that I've never been in my life. And I am so thankful for my sister Cheryl and colleagues. And I was able to pick myself up, or they were able to pick me up, let's put it that way. And I knew that I needed to honor him in some way. I needed to take that pain and I needed to turn it into something good. I needed to turn my, as I say, my grief into goodness. And I I created Mrs. March to honor him, and that no pet parent should have to all of a sudden just wake up and realize they don't have any more time.
Mm.
And I created this program, and then I went to VMX, which is a large veterinary conference, and I went with the intention that I wanted to stop cancer before it started. There's so many organizations that focus on giving back and financial assistance, and they do such a beautiful job. And we have other organizations that do the research. I knew that I wanted to I knew that I wanted to stop pet cancer and cancer before it started. And the only way we could do that was early detection. So I found companies at that time, it was just getting started. This was in 2023. And, and I met with many companies. Some of them just didn't give me the time of day. And I met with a company called Volition Veterinary, and they got it. They got it. And since that time, our sole focus has been on stopping cancer before it starts. Know the signs. Know, let's get tested. There are testings available, pre-cancer testings that help determine the biomarkers. If we know, we can do something. But if we don't know, right now cancer tests are only available for dogs. They will be becoming available. There's peer-reviewed papers right now for cats. Those will be probably happening in, we're hoping in 2026. But there's 6 million dogs and 6 million cats that are diagnosed with cancer every year. And that doesn't even take into account the years
The ones
before.
that never,
The years before, 2023, 2024. So every year it's 6 million additional cats and dogs being diagnosed with cancer. There's something going on. And if you think about it, I missed the warning signs. I thought it was something else. I thought that the lethargy, I thought, he had been heartworm positive whenever I got him, and he always had health problems. But I never thought about cancer. I just never thought about that. And looking back on that, the guilt, the pain of um, the pain of the coulda, shoulda, woulda, and why didn't I see this? And then realizing that it doesn't have to be in vain. It doesn't have to be for nothing. That now his life and what I've learned can be an example to others.
oh God, that's like, it's just like both crying here. So anybody is just listening. Yeah, I've lost two of mine, so I kind of have a sense of the feeling. I love that you kind of took that and sort of, well, okay, let's make this mean something. Let's make this help other people going forward. The cancer, the statistics, and I'm sort of thinking, well, I'm even thinking of all the dogs that don't even get diagnosed, that
Right.
nobody even
Yeah.
notices, kind of thing.
Nobody
So
notices.
it's rampant. So with those, that you're on the forefront, like you're talking to people who kind of in that space. What's the current kind of level of knowledge or theory of like why is this so rampant? Has it always been like that? Because my guess, I don't know. I would imagine when I'm thinking my grandparents' dogs, like the dogs that were around at that time, like there wouldn't have been that many with cancer.
Yeah.
Is it something that's happening a lot more now, or is it? And what are we kind of? Is there any theory of like why that would be?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think we are learning more and more about cancer. And I think we're just kind of catching up from a standpoint of human medicine for cancer, for our animals and for our pets. And I think right now, there are so many other elements that we never considered to our dogs or to our cats about cancer. Dr.
Mm.
Sue Ettinger, who's known as Dr. Sue Cancer Vet, she gave a beautiful webinar, I want to say 3 or 4 months ago, and it was on, what they're finding out now about cancer. I mean, all these things from the environment to the elements, secondhand smoke, things that we think about for ourselves, but do we think about them for our dogs?
Yeah.
All these things that we think about for years, we've now learned about the food that we feed. We need to feed healthy, just feed, what are we putting into their diets? But we've not talked about what are they putting into their mouths for toys? Have we talked about the toxicity level in the lead? Have we talked about the dyes in the products? Have we talked about the plastics that they're digesting from the bones? Have we talked about, we as pet parents, we get a plastic bottle, we throw the bottle and we're like, hey, and all he loves crunching it. But have we thought about the plastics they're ingesting and they stay in the system?
Mm.
Those are causing cancer, and we don't talk about it. We are the sorry, get it passionate about this. We are
You
the
go.
cure.org. We are the cure.org put out a beautiful study last year or 2 years ago relative to toxicity in our toys and these things that are coming from wherever we have no idea. And I'm just going to show an example here, but even like something like this, these little things that we just throw, oh, it's so cute. What about the dyes in this? What about those dyes? And even the bones that we're feeding our dogs that have been so well known for so many years, and that are bestsellers, and we're like, oh, that's great. They contain plastic. So I
Mm.
think that we really as pet parents, as a society, we must think about what we're putting into the mouths of our pets. And the environment, things are, whether it's global warming, whatever you want to call it, just like it impacts us, it's impacting our pets too. And I think we need to be conscious of that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think would you agree that it almost impacts them more because they have their little noses on things and so I think
Uh,
they
oh,
they're
everything.
smaller, more sensitive, so I think they're probably more affected than we are by a lot of
Absolutely.
and who
Yeah.
knows even about mobile phone, like the impact of all that stuff, the electromagnetic stuff. It's a whole other rabbit hole, I'd imagine.
Absolutely. I hope that our dogs are not sleeping with the cell phones beside their bed, but who knows, one day they may be. I don't know what I would do if that happened. Um, but you asked a question, what are we doing about this now? There are so many beautiful organizations right now that are leading the charge on understanding pet cancer.
Mm.
And, I say Moose's March is not inclusive, is not exclusive. Cancer is not exclusive. Moose's March is not exclusive. We work with everyone. And so right now we're working with Volition Veterinary. They have a new Q test, which is the pre-cancer test, and about 97% effective. There is pet preferred diagnostics that are really trying to come up with testings right now and have PhytoCure. There is IDEX, Oncotech, which is an at-home consumer test that people can actually get a urine test and then that can they can do that at home. They can send it in, and then if it is comes back as positive, that's going to have them go to their veterinarian. So I think the more that we know, the more the more that we're finding out. But pet cancer and early detection, it's just coming to the forefront, and we're I think we're the only organization that's really from a non-for-profit standpoint talking about this and talking about let's get them tested. No, give them, I think the greatest word in human history in the dictionary is hope. I want hope, and
Yeah.
I want more memories. And imagine if you would have had one more day with your dog,
Yeah.
one more day, one more hour.
Yeah.
Me, I think about Moose if I would have just had just a little bit more time, you
Yeah, I
know.
mean, it's like it's never enough, right? But I think it's something like that, where you think, I think you mentioned something in the beginning where I'm thinking it's the guilt piece. It's just like, ooh,
Oh
if
yeah.
I'd known earlier, I think that's incredibly painful. So, from what you've learned since, what are some early signs that somebody like may overlook because you wouldn't normally think of it?
Yeah. Um, Lumps that may
Mm,
be there, and you may identify them as a fatty cell tumor. Lumps and bumps that don't go away, lethargy, change in appetite, change in stool,
mm,
urination, bloody urination, loss of appetite, just a change in that happy-go-lucky, playful dog that you knew, and it may not be attributed to age. I
yeah,
think those are some of the warning signs that people don't really think about. Our dog jumps down from a maybe the couch, or he jumps up onto the bed, and he kind of winces, and we think, oh gosh, maybe that was too high for him. Let's get him a ramp up there, when it may be cancer. And
mm,
I think also sometimes when dogs misbehave, it's not misbehaving, they're in pain. And
yeah,
so even changes from a behavior standpoint, get them, your veterinarian is your best friend. They are your partner in this. A relationship with that veterinarian is so, so, so important, and invaluable with everything that you're doing with everything. But get them checked out. It's important for you, but it's important for them.
yeah. I mean, it's and I think it's the pain piece as well. Like I would, if like my first dog, he passed away, he was like 16 and a half years old. And,
Yeah,
so, and I'm like, it rips out your soul, but also like, I know he's lived a long
a
life
beautiful
and he
life.
wasn't, he didn't have like a long sort of suffering, right? He was sort of went fairly quickly at the end. So, I mean, that's kind of one thing, but when you think, oh my God, like they're in pain and I didn't notice, because I think it makes it really hard because dogs are so good. I don't know about cats. I'm not like, I haven't had a cat, but I know the dogs are so good at hiding it.
Yeah,
They're
cats,
not like people, right? Where you go, oh my God, this hurts. Like the dog will try and, fair enough. I mean, it makes
yeah,
sense from their point of view, but it makes it really hard sometimes to know when they're hurting.
yeah. Well, I think going back to cats, I think cats are even from a hiding standpoint, or from what I know, and there again more research is coming out about this. But from the standpoint of cats, cats do an even better job of hiding it than our dogs do, because again they're so they hide all the time basically. But from a standpoint of dogs, I think dogs want to please us. They just love us. They don't, they just want to love you, and unlike us, they can't tell us when they're in pain. They can't tell us where, I had a conversation with someone, and their dog kept scooting. We call it the boot scooting boogie, and you think that it's just, their anal glands need to be expressed, or whatever. And it turned out to be anal cancer. And they just again, the things that we don't think about, but all of a sudden it's like, I didn't know. And also I want to point out, dogs over the age of 7 1 in 3, let me repeat that, 1 in 3 will get cancer. So the need for testing is so vitally important. And again, it can be whenever you go in for your yearly wellness examination, and your veterinarian has taken that little draw of blood, he just needs to take about maybe 0.5 milliliters more. And it's nothing. And to give you peace of mind and to give you hope, or to let you know, hey, the markers were a little bit elevated. These cells were elevated. Are they healthy cells? Are they unhealthy cells? What do they look like? And so making sure that we're aware that there is something else going on. So the testing is vitally important, and know the signs, know the warning signs. We actually on our, we just introduced, we talked about some of the products. We're introducing Moose approved badges, and for companies that are dedicated to, cancer-free carcinogen and the toxicity, and organizations that are striving to do better for, for our pets. And so hopefully you'll be seeing Moose approved badges everywhere for companies, and that's going to be Moose's contribution to
and that he's gonna love it. I'm saying it now, right?
he's looking down on me and smiling or farting. I'm not sure which one.
But so if I, like you were saying, when I go to, like, you go to the vet, and like, can you like request the extra like cancer test, or is that something that like vets these days know already to do, or is this, or will you find vets who kind of like, oh, that's not a thing, or we don't, like, what's the awareness level amongst vets?
I think it's becoming more and more aware right now, and I think more veterinarians are including the pre-cancer testings within a wellness examination. I would ask for it. I would request it. Again, because early screening really just started happening maybe 2 years ago. So again, your veterinarian is going to be, it just depends upon their knowledge and where they are. But I'm sure most veterinarians do know about the early detection and the pet cancer screening now. And again, I believe it's provided through Antech and through IDEX, which are fairly commonly well-known organizations. So they should be able to.
Yeah. But I think
not
even like
expensive,
not even expensive. Well, that's
not
good
expensive,
to know.
not expensive at all. And I think that's one thing people are like, oh, because think about, there are insurance companies that are charging more if you have a breed that is predisposed to cancer, because they know history repeats itself, and they know that if you have a golden retrievers now, I think it's over 60% are now going to be diagnosed with pet cancer at some time in their lifetime. It's just commonality. Labrador retrievers are getting up there as well. Boxers, same thing. So these animals these dogs are now being tagged by pet insurance companies. They're charging more because those animals are predisposed to cancer. So I think there is something to say that if your dog is diagnosed with cancer, and then if you're catching it earlier, there are more things that you can do early on, and steps that you can take early on, as opposed to all of a sudden go, and then
now it's emergency surgery or something really, really invasive, right? Yeah. So
exactly.
I think what, like, the piece that really fascinates me is even that before all of that, it's almost like our awareness of, okay, like, look twice what kind of toys you give them. Make sure you feed them, make sure they get out in nature, they're not constantly, like the bowls, like all those basic everyday things. I think there's like so much that we can do to clean up the environment. And I think, well, it's not just for our dogs, I guess it's the same for us, right?
It's for our kids. And just, I think about also know the source that you're getting the product from. It's super easy to order, something off of, a website. Oh my gosh, that's so cheap. I'm getting 25 toys for $10. Wow. Really? Where are those toys coming from?
Yeah.
And
saving on the
what's
wrong end.
In those, right. And I think paying attention, also one thing that I want to point out is we as women, we do a breast self-examination every month, maybe not every, and we're looking at ourselves, we're seeing, okay, we're aware of what's going on in our bodies. Men, from a prostate example stance, they're aware of what's going on in their bodies. We need to do the same thing for our pets. We need to give them an examination, similar when you're patting them down every day and you're just loving on them and you're petting them and you love them so much. Is there something else going on? Is there an unexplained odor? Do they have bad breath? Worse than normal? And, so I think these are things that we can do now.
Yeah.
And those are just some of the steps that you could take now for early detection.
When you think about it, there's really so much to be aware of, to just pay attention to your dog and any change. If you pay attention to your dog, and you'll notice those changes.
Right.
That the fur is different, and and the smell and the activity level and the appetite. There's really so much. Yeah. I've always had this theory to say, well, I've always gotten my dog's food where other people go people got laughed at me. They go, oh, look, there comes Leo. Next thing is he'll get extra virgin olive oil, and I'm like, well, if you knew that he already does.
He should.
And I always had this theory, like, what I spend more on food, I save on vet costs.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
It's been true. So they've not had health. None of the four had lots of health issues, right? So it's definitely just worth paying attention to and educating ourselves, because there is a lot that we can do, and that's really, it's hope is the word that comes to mind. It gives that hope that we're not as just the victim on the other end, sort of thing. So there is a lot that we can do. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think you said a key word there, it's paying attention. And it is paying attention. I think when you think about it in terms of health, just like it's easy to give a treat, give a toy, but pay attention, play with them, give them that. And then through that, you're going to be actually able to connect with them more and understand really what more is going on in their bodies, because you're interacting with them more. And how important that is, especially, time, we can never get time back.
That's never. So true. That's so true. And it's more fun for both of them, for both of us anyway, right? To just spend more time.
So I agree. I agree. I love it.
Where can people find out more about you, about your work, about, Moose?
I love it. Thank you. They can find us on moosesmarch.com, and you can find all the resources there. We actually have a resource page for early detection. If people have questions, they can contact us. We have veterinarians. We have people that we can reach out to. Questions on early detection, questions on pet. If people would like to order a pet cancer test, connect with us, let us know, and we'll send that to you. We'll connect with you. We'll find out more information, and we'll connect you to a veterinarian in your area, and we'll find out more information. If they're looking for products that may be non-toxic, not maybe, but are non-toxic and are Moose approved, you can find those on our website as well. Again, we're there as a resource for you. 100% of our donations, and I say 100% of our donations, go directly to the fight against pet cancer and early detection and purchasing tests, pet cancer tests, and creating awareness. And that's what we're here for. We're here for marching for more memories and hope and quality of life.
Love that. There's nothing I can add to that. Thank you so much for coming and raising this.
Thank you.
Really so emotional topic and so important. So, and to give us hope as well, to know that there is, things we can do. So thank you.
Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review so other dog lovers can find the show. If you haven't already, head over to soultouchedbydogs.com and sign up for weekly doggy cuteness, tips, recommendations, and personal stories to warm your dog-loving heart. And if you know a awesome human you think I should interview, I'd love an introduction. Email me at Anke, that's ANKE, at soultouchedbydogs.com.